Htwow June post, but in the middle of COVID. Take one.
Hello, HTWOW listeners. You have punched up the June 2020 episode of HTWOW, otherwise known as High Tea with Old Waver. We are back in the friendly confines of Toby's College Station studio to bring you a hot set of revolutionary German krautrock jams and some brand new crap that you've never even heard of, but you're going to love it. I promise. But before we do, just want to bring your attention to two things. Number one, we really need you to help us grow this pod. You can do that by sending a link to your friends, texting them and saying, just Google HTWOW, or you can go to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and bang us a 5-star review and write some words and tell them how much you love us. It will help us climb the iTunes rankings, but we're on Spotify too. Don't forget about the Spotify, but share whatever link you and your friends want to listen to most, and that would really help us out a lot. And number two, if you can't get enough of HTWOW, if you think that we curate only the best jams, and what do these guys play when the tape isn't rolling, but it is rolling, then you need to listen to HTWOW After Dark, because it's the drunken after party to this podcast. It's like we're in a room recording ourselves, but we don't know we're being recorded. And so it's totally off the cuff, bro. We're just like speaking our minds, and we're playing crazy stuff that like the plebes that listen to the regular HTWOW just won't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like for the people that are on the wavelength. So please go to oldwaver.com and click on premium, sign up for HTWOW After Dark, or it's on Patreon. Patreon is the thing. That's the vehicle to get your premium content. Just search HTWOW, and you can find us, and you can subscribe for as little as $5 a month, and we would totally appreciate it, and we can't wait to talk to you after we're way more drunk than this.
Peace.
Hey, Papa, help me out with this band. I'm going crazy.
Hey, Dad, play that OMD record.
Hey, what's that weird record you used to play with the guy that can't dance?
right. HTWOW is here to make love to your computer for the next 2 hours. Welcome to Htwow June 2020, episode number 36 of your favorite podcast, the drunkest music and beer podcast on the internet. I am Dave, also known as Gen X Davey, also known as Old Waver, at Old Waver on Twitter. With me as always, Toby Pipes, at Toby Pipes on Twitter. And we're still in COVID times. However, we are back in the comforting womb of Toby's studio.
How does that bed music make you feel right there?
Man, the last two, I haven't been able to hear it, and I felt so naked.
I know. Man, you sound so much better than on a Zoom call.
I know. Yeah, so if you are new to the pod, welcome. This is HTWOW, High Tea with Old Waver, and this is a song swap and a beer swap. And the last 2 months, because of social distancing and COVID times, we have been apart. I have been in Dallas, and you have been here in College Station. Mm-hmm. And we have recorded over Skype, and then you put things together in post, bro.
It has been an audio nightmare.
But because, it's not over. In fact, everything's spiking, but I think we're all a little smarter about social distancing and taking precautions. And so we felt like this was the time to bring it back to the HTWOW that people expect, that people grew to love.
Yeah. Do you feel cozy?
I feel real cozy.
Yeah.
So good.
I know, it feels good.
I just want to listen to this bed for a little bit.
Man, our opening track there, God.
Yeah, so that was Kraftwerk Computer Love. If you are a Ticket P1 or an Orphanage P1, you also recognize that as the Hints from Heloise theme. We're not playing it because we're going to do hints on this pod. We're playing it because it's related to Toby's book report, as promised on the May pod.
Yay.
How are you feeling about this?
There's a lot of information, but I'm going to do what we normally do. I'm going to talk about some the high points and just play the tunes. We're not, people don't want to get too into it. If you want to go into it, look it up.
Yeah. You have plenty of time during lockdown to do your own Kraftwerk research.
Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube short movies, long movies, anything that you want about Kraftwerk, and they're all really good. I don't know when the last time, have you ever sat through a doc about Kraftwerk on YouTube?
No, I need to.
Man, it's great.
Because if you like the kind of music that we like, and if you're listening to this, you probably like the kind of music that we like. Otherwise, you would never listen to this again.
Yeah, could you imagine if someone made you sit through this if you just hated this type of...
Right?
It would be a nightmare.
But Kraftwerk informed and influenced pretty much everything that we like.
Yeah.
They and, you did a kind of Genesis of electronic music book report a ways back.
Yeah, and so we touched on it. But since the passing of Florian Schneider, we felt like it was the time.
Yeah, so that came up on last month's pod. Florian Schneider was one of the founding members of Kraftwerk, and he passed away. You remember how old he was?
73.
And so it was kind of too late for us to adjust programming for the May pod.
And we needed to be in the same room for that.
Yeah. So the last two, not only were they departures in format in that we were not together, we were over Skype, but also there was no song swapping. I was just commandeering the aux cord, and I played all 6 songs for the April and May pods, but we're back to a democracy.
I know. You bullied your way right through that before.
I am no longer an authoritarian figure here in these trying times.
Oh, man. But we did play a lot of new music, and that was good.
Yes, and I do have 3 hot new jams, brand new stuff to play for you.
Good.
I'm very excited. And another thing that is back to normal, because we were distantly recording the last 2 months, we were kind of on our own for beverages, and we weren't necessarily drinking beer. We were just drinking whatever our COVID cocktail of choice was. But I did today, before driving down here to the station, I paid a visit to Matt Tobin and our good friends at Goodfriend Package.
You didn't think I was going to get that clap in there like that, did you?
I always have faith. You are the finest engineer that I know.
I'm telling you. I just snuck that right in.
Yeah, so Goodfriend Package is our beer sponsor. They are in East Dallas, 1155 PV Avenue. And you can also check them out at socialdistancingnow.com. So I got the skinny from Matt today. They are about to reopen the Goodfriend Burger Bar to patrons to dine in. Like that, their first day is today, as of this recording.
But have people been able to have beers on the patio?
No, it's only been delivery and to go.
Okay.
So they are now, they've been taking their time. They've been strategizing after in Texas, Governor Abbott lifted the restrictions and allowed restaurants to operate at 25% capacity at first. Now it's up to 50%. And so today, as of this recording, Goodfriend Bar and Grill Burger Extravaganza is open for dine-in. But if you go to socialdistancingnow.com, you can see the menu for both Goodfriend Package and Goodfriend Burger House. I really need to know what the name of the other business is.
We got to get that going.
But yeah, so it actually works out that Goodfriend Package is open for breakfast and lunch, and then the other Goodfriend is open for dinner. So you can see both menus on there. And you can also buy merch. If you're not Dallas local and you want to support a local business, buy some merch. And I'm really proud of those guys, and I mentioned it to Matt when I saw him, that they've done a great job of pivoting during these unprecedented times.
Unprecedented.
And they have really done a great job of keeping their employees employed and keeping their neighborhood fed. And
they got a
just
chime
proud
as
of them.
well.
Just proud of them. They're doing great work.
Man, it's cozy that you're here. It's even more cozy that the cooler's here.
Yes.
Man, it feels all back to normal, even though it's not. But it's, this is about as small as a group as we can get.
That's right.
2 people in a house.
Yeah. And I mean,
and a dog.
We're at least 4 feet apart.
Yeah.
They have not been doing the beer to go at Goodfriend Package. They have not kept up their inventory on that side of the business because it's just takeout, and they're running it out to your car. You're not coming in and placing an order. It's all online. So we just had to make do with what was in their inventory in the cooler when I went by today. Well, so we are starting out with a Wasatch Brewery canned beer. I think we've had a Wasatch on the pod before.
It really does sound familiar, but once again, you love naked people on your beer cans.
Right? Well, the beer we're drinking is Polygamy Nitro Porter. And so it says, she's on Nitro. Meet the sister wife of our classic brew. This nitrogenated version is as chocolatey and easy drinking as the original, but even softer and creamier. It's okay to love them both. Get it? Because it's Polygamy Porter.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Wasatch is Utah's first craft brewery.
Utah Saints.
Get it? Utah, polygamy.
Yeah, no, I get it. Do you remember the Utah Saints?
I love the Utah Saints.
Do you see what it says on the other side?
No, what did it say?
Pour like you mean it. Do you see that? It says it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it says pour like you mean it.
I thought when it said Nitro that meant it was going to have the little canister in the can, like the old Guinness Nitros.
Yeah, the little ball in there or whatever. Was in
like
there.
when you shake the can, you can hear it at the bottom.
Does Guinness still do that?
I don't know. I think so. Have you tasted this?
It's good. It's really good. Do you not like it?
No, I'm taking my first sip now.
Oh no, I'm halfway.
Yeah,
through
I don't generally pick a porter, but this is really easy drinking.
Yeah, it's easy.
Man, the Nitro really does make a difference. It makes it much smoother and creamier.
What do you mean?
I
What's
will agree.
Nitro?
Well, if you go to Starbucks or if you go to a bar that has a Nitro tap, it's that there's nitrogen infused into the tap, and it just, I'm speaking out of my ass, but it injects nitrogen into the liquid, and so there's a more consistent body, that it's smoother and the carbonation is a little bit different than if it was just CO2.
Man, this all sounds really technical.
I don't know. All the beer nerds listening are telling me to shut up because I don't know what I'm talking about, which is true.
Let's have them call in.
It is true. But we thank you for joining us for Back to Normal, HTWOW.
I know. You sound great. You sounded horrible before, by the way. It really wasn't that bad. I thought we did as good as we could.
We did do as good as we could.
The last After Dark was
Yeah, that was the main reason why we wanted to return to normal, is I think everyone was tired of the house party after dark.
Man.
I didn't want to make our dear patrons endure that another month. Two was enough.
The house party app is fun to do. But man, it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like it was so I'm pretty sure I cut out as much as we could as far as like the glitchiness.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I bet that was a little hard to listen to.
And your pop plug-in.
Oh my God, that thing was working overtime.
Yeah, so we want to tell you about the After Dark a little bit later. We will tease what we're going to play later on tonight, and we will also give you a sneak peek of what you missed last month's train wreck. Jeez.
There were some funny bits, but there were also...
It wasn't as good. You can't put lightning in a bottle twice.
No, that first one was insane.
The first one, everyone was under COVID alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
This last one, we just couldn't recapture the magic.
Yeah, it was like everyone just ran a 10K and was just sitting around like...
What do you guys want to play? I don't care. Is it your turn? I don't care.
There were some funny bits.
Yeah, so we'll give you a sneak peek a little bit later and try to encourage you to become a patron. But let's go ahead and get to a jam.
Jam.
And also, let's just get this out of the way. We're not going to spend an inordinate amount of time on the pod discussing the news of the day, but let it just be said that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there is definitely a platform to discuss all of that, and maybe this is just an escape, but I'm glad you said that.
Well, I don't want to have my blinders on and ignore what's happening.
No, we don't need to ignore it.
And that brings me to the first thing that I want to play.
Okay.
Because the first thing that I want to play is kind of the soundtrack of the revolution that's happening right now. I mean, watch the news. You know the demonstrations that are sweeping the country and the globe for the Black Lives Matter movement and for the demonstrations against police brutality and systemic racism and all of that. And I hope that if you're listening to this, we're all on the same page. That treating humans as humans and caring for your neighbor should not be political. And it shouldn't upset you if we say that we support someone else in their struggle for equality. But Run the Jewels just came out with their 4th record. RTJ4 is what it's called.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a duo. It's LP and Killer Mike. And they were planning on releasing this album later in the summer. But then when all the shit hit the fan, they decided to go ahead and release it early.
Pump it out.
So it came out on June 3rd. And, I'm not a huge Run the Jewels fan. I'm not a huge hip-hop fan. I have a cursory knowledge, and it's one of those things that there are some things that I will hear and I'll be like, oh, I like that. And most of it I tune out. But as I said, this has kind of become the soundtrack of the movement. There's a lot in it that is relevant. And not only that, but Killer Mike is a leader among men. That he has really established himself as a voice of reason and a voice of leadership in this whole movement. And so I wanted to talk about that after we get done. And again, not belaboring it, not going to turn HTWOW into cultural commentary, but do want to play this hot jam because it is smoking hot. So let's kick off this June HTWOW with a brand new track from RTJ4. This is called Goonies versus E.T.
Baby, if I had another chance, I would give another chance to you. Ooh. If I make another wish, I'll wish for a wish for you.
For you? Hey.
1, 2.
E-Gad, you heard of these lads, it's the myth, how we made a grip, never rode dick. Truly the Cadillac, I had to contract L's on a quick.
Dick 'em up, slick, talking no tricks.
It's the funniest shit, finally the money up and print on the kid, and the plan to hit skids. Living in a valley of flames like I win, skyline ablaze and a bomb rod pick. You don't want to acknowledge them raw, give a shit, never nine. You can talk to me fun when I'm gone. Bad news bearing along with big claws, trying to hold our whole lives in his paws and applaud. Swear to goddamn the whole city odd, make a woman's hard, we got scars for hearts. Shit for eyes, baby, living in a one chance lot, so I stick to the art. Oh my god, I'm ultra mag, cash bag, running through dead zone, hope it don't crash. Tennis song, motherfucker, bring it up fast. Be alone, I'ma hold what I can and then dash. Fuck y'all got another planet on stash. Far from the fact that the flames of our trash. That is not snow, it is ash. And you gotta know the past, gotta rap. If a lover gone mad, but I promise.
Baby, if I had another chance, I would give another chance to you. If I make another wish, I'll wish for a wish for you. You. Woo. Put the brass on the magic lamps, damn near rub through. Spit wish after wish after wish after wish, and the chances are that none are coming true.
And then fake it. Life's a disguise, the truth is butt naked. Used to be a time I see it and I say it. Now I understand that woke folk is playing. Ain't no revolution, it's televised and digitized. You been hypnotized and Twitterized by silly guys. Due to the evening news, make sure you ill-advised. Got you celebrating the generators of genocide. Any good deed is pumped Karma punish and penalize. Rulers of the world, let's slice it up like a dinner pie. Race in a nation told you to identify. Take false pride and warfare incentivize. Fuck that, me and my tribe, we on the ill vibe. We accept the role of the villains cause we've been villainized. Stomp to the dirt of the earth, we still will arise. Terror don't let me alone as I soliloquize. This is life and ill, with a license to kill. This is nigga with an attitude of Beverly Hills. Heavy bill with a pocket full of treasures we build. Got a fly hot temper, find it hard to chill. I'm a lifetime liver, fuck that fuck shit. Me and Jamie verse y'all with a knife in the must. Bad tombstones read, they were nothing to fuck with.
Please say that shit again, Mike.
Nothing to fuck with. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
It's a hot jam.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You know what I mean? The music isn't boring.
Yeah, that's the thing that has always been consistent in whatever I've heard from Run the Jewels, is that there is just cool stuff going on. It's not just a drum beat and a melody line and then just rapping. Mm-hmm. That there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of cool sounds.
And if it is a sample, it's not so blatant that you just basically ripped a hit song off and shoved it in your song.
Right, that put a different beat over the top of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and as I said, Killer Mike, I love him as a personality, but I also love his voice because, you know, he's from Atlanta and he just has that southern drawl in his rap. So even when he's spitting like those rapid fire lines, you can kind of still hear that twang in his voice. Mm-hmm. And it's just really unique and really cool.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you played that. We don't play a lot of stuff like that. That
No.
was good.
No, and you know, they certainly cross over to white people and hipsters, so this shouldn't
totally
be too unpalatable for our lily white HTWOW patrons.
That is not true, Dave. We are worldwide and international.
But I don't know if you saw Killer Mike when he made headlines across the nation right after the George Floyd demonstration started and things really kicked up in Atlanta, which I mentioned is where he's from, that he ended up speaking alongside the mayor of Atlanta and like the chief of police in Atlanta. And he was super passionate. I just wanted to play like a minute of what he had to say. If you missed this was all over the news. It was played over and over again. But he's speaking from the heart. He's not speaking from note cards. He didn't prepare anything. He's just a really insightful, passionate guy. And check this out.
So I'm duty bound to be here to simply say that it is your duty not to burn your own house down for anger with an enemy. It is your duty to fortify your own house so that you may be a house of refuge in times of organization. And now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is time to beat up prosecutors you don't like at the voting booth. It is time to hold mayoral offices accountable, chiefs and deputy chiefs. Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are. I'm mad as hell. I woke up wanting to see the world burn down yesterday because I'm tired of seeing black men die. He casually put his knee on a human being's neck for 9 minutes as he died like a zebra in the clutch of a lion's jaw. And we watch it like murder porn over and over again. So that's why children are burning to the ground. They don't know what else to do. And it is the responsibility of us to make this better right now. We don't want to see one officer charged. We want to see 4 officers prosecuted and sentenced. We don't want to see targets burning. We want to see the system that sets up for systemic racism burnt to the ground.
Powerful stuff, bro.
Yeah, man. He's good.
Yeah, he's really good, and Run the Jewels is really good. That whole record, it slaps, as the kids say.
Is that a new thing?
What?
Slaps.
I don't know. I think it's probably a year old, so it's probably already over.
But new for us.
Yeah, new for us.
Do I need to start saying that?
For us lame old dudes. Yeah, go ahead and start saying stuff slaps. See where it gets you.
I already feel good about it.
So that is Run the Jewels, and that kicks off HTWOW and ends the social commentary portion of HTWOW. Thank you for indulging me.
No, that was really good. I mean, what we're about to get into, we'll get into it later, but the influence of Kraftwerk on rap music in general was a huge influence.
Yeah.
So it seems like it wouldn't tie together, but it totally does.
Yeah, they were the first band that was sampled most often.
Yeah, African Bambaataa. You know what? Should I have queued that up? Should I have that ready?
The Africa Bambaataa song?
Yeah, have we played that recently, or we just talked about it?
I don't know.
Maybe we'll do that for After Dark.
I mean, I've got the chord. Do you want me to pull it up real quick?
No, we'll do that. I mean, because there's a ways to go. That's not until
Here, I'm going to give this to you, by the way.
We're starting off in the 70s,
Whoops.
Dave.
It's interesting. I know we touched on the wealth of Kraftwerk biographies, docs online.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there are so many. Because let's face it, they influenced everyone. Everything we're doing. Our bed music right now. Think about, I mean, it would not exist without Kraftwerk.
Right. But it's interesting how they started, because they came up in post-World War II Germany, and that very much influenced their style of music, because after the whole Nazi business...
Well, there was a whole thing, the doc that I watched the other night, it's like an hour and a half. I mean, it's a long doc, but it starts off with basically, I mean, Florian Schneider was born in 1947, so think about that.
Yeah.
So when he comes to an age that he wants to start doing things, he doesn't, they're wondering about their parents and grandparents. Like, what were y'all like? What side were y'all like? Were y'all bad people or good people? Like, they're really having to worry about people in their own country, and they're wanting to get out and see other things. So a lot of young German people are traveling as much as they can. So that kind of starts off a whole new thing, and they want to invent brand new things. And when you see on the documentary, one of the guys that joins the band later says that they admit that they, the music that they're listening to, they weren't born in England, and they're not from the Mississippi Delta, so they need to invent new things.
Yeah, the way they interpreted popular music and the way rock music was headed was to take a more reserved and structured approach.
Right, and which is so German.
Yeah.
But, so of course, while they're growing up, guess where they met, Dave? When Florian Schneider meets Rolf Htwow, guess where they meet?
At Oktoberfest.
No, where do all bands meet?
At art school.
At art school. God, did we just miss something? Should we?
Where is art school in Bedford? How did I miss that?
I'm telling you. If you want to start a band, first of all, never leave school, because all the good bands start in universities. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, go to art school. That is the place. But so they meet each other, and this is the late 60s. And, when you see that old footage, and I sent you that stuff of really, really early Kraftwerk, and they're playing flutes.
Yeah.
Like, that was Florian's thing, because, they're all classically trained, and back then, if you were going to call yourself a musician, you had to know some stuff. So they're sitting around with and they kind of looked hippie, didn't you?
Yeah, they had the long hair.
Yeah.
And the one I guess, famous concert that was on German TV. It's all in black and white.
Yeah.
And all of the German kids are sitting on their on the floor, like Indian style.
It looked pretty packed.
It was totally packed, but they're all like hippies and beatniks, and they're just watching the most bizarre atonal droning concert.
Right. It's like they know that they're supposed to be there because it's cool. But it's I'm not going to say it's a tough listen, but it's very experimental.
Yeah,
it's a lot of flutes through tape machines and echoes, and it's weird as hell.
It's
but
a
also
challenging
awesome.
listen.
So when they first start off, they are this is pretty cool. When they first start going, well, his first band was called Piss Off, Florian's first band, which I think is kind of funny. Because I think throughout the whole thing, which a lot of people don't give Kraftwerk and Florian Schneider and Rolf Hutter credit for, is they think that it's just totally serious and robotic and all that. But their whole thing has a hint of humor tied to it the whole time. You know what I mean? Like everyone thinks Morrissey is just pissed all the time. If they can't see the humor in a lot of those lyrics, you're crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they first start going, when they start the band called The Organization, and then they start playing with a bunch of different people, two of the people they first started playing with, and I think that we mentioned this on the history of electronic music, was, and I want to get the names right, so I'm looking it up here. Hold on. Michael Rother and Klaus Dinga.
Klaus Dinga.
They ended up leaving the band. They played together from like 1970 to 1974. Actually, I don't even know that long. Maybe like just 2 years in there. But they formed Neu.
Oh, okay.
Or New. I still am not sure how. Well, I've always said Neu. What have you heard?
I've always heard Neu, but I don't know anything.
But around that time, a lot of these dudes I love it when you start off as brand new and you're all so young, and then the split offs all become famous too.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these people were in the same room as their first bands doing cool stuff. So that must have been just awesome. But then later on, it is just, and Kraftwerk is Florian and Rolf for many, many years. And then even at the end of Kraftwerk, when they get the other guys involved with writing, which does help a lot, it's still their band. Kraftwerk is those two.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the concepts and how they end up looking and everything.
Yeah, the matching outfits, all of the Kraftwerk branding that came to light in the late 70s was just pure genius.
It was genius. And they don't start that till later. So their first couple of records, which is so German, the first one's called Kraftwerk, and the second one's called Kraftwerk 2, which...
It's kind of Zeppelin of them.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people did that back then. But it's also an awesome name, just like the organization Kraftwerk. Do you know what Kraftwerk means?
No.
It means power station or power plant.
Okay.
So that makes sense,
yeah.
Right?
But it looks awesome.
So they're already starting off as like...
With the K in craft and the E in work.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you everything you need to know before you even hear one note.
Right. And while so many bands are, those first two records are mainly instrumental and no one's saying anything, they're cool to listen to. I would suggest to go check them out, but, we're not getting into that. Because I would even say, of the first four records, when this guy, Connie Plank, I think, is might as well be the third member of the band. He's the producer.
Mm-hmm.
They get to the record Autobahn. And Autobahn, as far as Rolf and Florian are concerned, is the start of Kraftwerk. They don't consider those other records. Like, they start changing their look. They've been playing in France a lot. They also... they're accepted in Germany a lot because a lot of German bands just want to do all of their songs in English. And Kraftwerk is kind of embracing the early 30s Germany look. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so they kick off with Autobahn. And I should play Autobahn right here, but we've played that before.
We played it on it. Well, we played a radio edit on an After Dark.
Yes.
But the full version is what, 22 minutes?
It's 22 minutes, and you do need to. It starts off with a car engine starting, and you have to kind of sit in for this. And it's there when they first start charting in even America and all over the world. That's the start.
Yeah, it's more of a soundscape than a song.
Yeah.
That it's kind of taking you on a journey driving on the Autobahn.
But it's the first time all of these instruments are being used, and there are still... it's not completely all drum machine synthesizers at this point, but those are the sounds you recognize, and so that's what's freaking everyone out, right?
By the way, before you introduce the first song that you're going to play, talk about Symmetry, the electronic HTWOW episode.
Yes.
June 2019, exactly 1 year ago.
You're kidding me.
So if after this pod you want to go back and listen to us discuss the origins and development of electronic music.
Because popcorn's in that.
Yeah.
Doop, 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 doop. Right?
Yep. So go back and have a listen to that. We played Depeche Mode. We played that popcorn song that you referenced. We played New Order, Thomas Dolby, Pet Shop Boys, and Daft Punk.
And we'll be playing in the After Dark, I'm guessing, a lot of Kraftwerk influenced music.
Tonight?
Don't you think?
I would think.
That's what we should do.
I do have bonus cuts of everything that I'm playing. Although, I guess a couple of the things I'm going to play definitely owe a debt to Kraftwerk. So
yeah, and we'll get into all the 80s stuff later. Of what it influenced the whole movement of you would think that four German dudes would never influence.
So we're skipping over Autobahn.
We're skipping over Autobahn, even though that is the start of Kraftwerk. And if you're going to listen to it, if you're going to listen to Kraftwerk, just start with Autobahn, right? Isn't that what you would say?
Yeah, it's
so great.
Strap in for the journey. Just don't expect to be constantly engaged and amazed. You need to really relax and let it wash over you.
When you think about them influencing people, and people think about how much David Bowie influenced people, these guys influenced David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and that's what we're getting into next, is the Trans-Europe Express, is what everyone thinks. There's a lot of people that think that this is their best thing that they've ever done. I love it. I can't tell, because I think that over the years with synthesizers and things like that, it's hard to, when you get new equipment, new things come up, and so you can't really say that. But I see what they're doing here, and they were into concept albums a lot. So this is kind of when they would go back and forth to France all the time, and when they got into bicycling and all which we'll get into later.
Right.
But this is basically about the train. When you see the cover art, and this is when they're getting their look. They're super clean. Everyone are hippies around this time, and they're super clean businessmen with their suits. And they haven't gone to the straight robot thing yet, but they are looking like, Heaven 17's first records.
Yeah.
They look like businessmen or scientists.
Right, but with the skinny tie.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a mod twist on it.
Yeah, and they look awesome, and no one has ever seen anything like this. And the cool Art Deco writing on the album cover, it's cool. That band Mirrors basically stole this cover, which is, they're not denying it, of course. They did it on purpose.
So Autobahn was 74. Radioactivity was 75.
And that was Radioactivity. Autobahn is their first hit. Radioactivity, everyone considers a huge record now, especially because of the synth. That's when they go almost pure synth. But it was almost considered a flop after Autobahn, even though it's not.
And then 77 is Trans-Europe Express.
And this is the big record when they really start kicking it down.
So are you going to play the title track?
I think I should, because it's the start. You know, they go to a train track, they listen to it. The doc I saw the other day. This is also when the 4 pieces in full effect. It's not just Rolf and Florian anymore. Now they have Wolfgang and Carl. But let's play Trans-Europe Express. I will have to say you need to sink in a little bit here.
Yeah, we debated whether or not we needed to play the radio edit, but I think that we just need to hear the album version to give people the truest look. And if you...
It's 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, if you get worn out after 3 minutes, which is what the radio edit is, then just fast forward.
Yeah.
But the rest of us mature adults will listen to the whole thing.
It's cool to play the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. We're not going to make you sit through 22 minutes of Autobahn, so you can sit through 6.5 minutes.
6.5 minutes
of Trans-Europe Express.
Yeah, but this is a good start off. If you haven't got into Kraftwerk, but you want to see the influences, this is a good one.
I can't wait.
All right, here we go.
Meet Iggy Pop and David Bowie. Trans Europe Express. Trans Europe Express. Trans Europe Express. Trans Europe Express.
That's it. But you heard the David Bowie Iggy Pop reference in there, right? Because this is around the time he's going and starting his Berlin recordings, the trilogy, those 3 records that become, which are my favorite Bowie records. But and I think that Bowie on one of his singles, on Heroes or something like that, has something on one side that's called Schneider V2. Or maybe it's Florian V2. I forget what it is, but he references Florian Schneider. I mean, how cool is that to influence Bowie?
Yeah.
On all of his records. But, and we take it for granted, those, the long song with the, this is before DJs and before they start doing all that, which they catch up on this a little later. But it's that drony, don't know, with that beat behind it, and people start using that later on. And we've mentioned him before, and I was gonna, if I haven't done it already, which I can't remember, but Giorgio Moroder.
Yeah, no, you haven't done that yet.
We've mentioned him because of all the Donna Summer stuff
and Daft Punk
and all that stuff that comes up later on. Around this time, she starts recording in Germany, in Munich, I think. And because of all these influences, disco starts. And it's a whole thing. And Kraftwerk begins all that. And then later on, we'll get into the... I don't know if you know if you remember who DJ Rusty Egan is.
Mm-mm.
Have you heard that name?
No.
There was the Blitz Club in the early 80s, and it was anything that was synth, any brand new synth, anything was all played at that club. And so it starts a whole new movement.
Where was that club?
London, I think.
Okay. The 70s, such an incredible decade for music.
Could you imagine being in Germany in the 70s? That must have been the weirdest. I mean, even in Berlin, where half of it is, occupied, and the whole thing, it just had to be weird as hell.
But just thinking about rock and roll as a whole, rock music as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And we think Zeppelin and Aerosmith, and
right. But obviously, the 60s from 1960 to 1969, it's almost unrecognizable, the change that happened in that decade. But then once you get into the 70s, then it just splinters wildly and you have all of these different offshoots of the foundation of rock music.
Right. And there's all these new instruments. Like, they're creating a lot of their own instruments, but you heard that string sound that sounded like an old 30s, like a terrible gramophone recording of a string sound. So they end up being at some music fair somewhere in Germany and buy this orchestron, I think it was called, and it was sort of like a mellotron, but mellotrons only, they're tape loops, right? So when you hold down the key, mellotrons, if you listen to Strawberry Fields or anything like that, they only can last like 10 seconds, where these are little discs and they keep going. So they bought this on the spot and then went and started doing these records with this new stuff. And so it's why I always think it's I don't know, it's hard for people to do new stuff now. Now we have computers, and when computers came out to be recording tools, some new things came out, but as far as sounds, there aren't really new instruments being made, right? But think of how wild the mid-'70s were when people started to be able, when Depeche Mode and Essex or whatever can start to afford their first keyboard. How crazy that was.
Yeah.
And Kraftwerk started all of it, so good for them. And there's a Texas tie-in, too, that I'll get into later.
Texas Instruments.
That's right, mister. Texas Instruments. They were obsessed with Texas Instruments.
That's awesome. Are you referencing the Pocket Calculator song?
That whole record, because of that stupid little thing that Texas Instruments put out that made those voices on that calculator, they thought it was the coolest thing ever, So Kraftwerk's not only their hip-hop tie-in, but their Texas tie-in.
Well, I do want to take a little bit of a detour and talk about all of the music that Kraftwerk inspired that I had the opportunity to play on Ticket 80's Prom. I would like to backsell that for a moment if I could.
Man, that thing went well. Did they save all that? Can you go back and listen to that?
Yeah, well, the Unticket did.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So if, and for those who don't know, for those who don't live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex or aren't P1s, I had this idea because of COVID times, lockdown, that the class of 2020, not only did they lose out on their graduation ceremony, everything had to be like by car or, whatever weird setup they were able to determine for their graduation ceremony, but they didn't get to go to prom. And so in an effort to try and shoehorn myself onto the airwaves on the Ticket, 96.7 and 1310 in Dallas-Fort Worth, I concocted this themed show that happened on a Friday night, the last Friday of May, and it was Ticket 80's Prom. And pretty much everybody who is on the air, with the exception of the youngster Jake, all of the hosts went to high school in the 80s, as did we. And so it made sense as a theme show, but I tried to make it inclusive, tried to make it appealing to people born before or after that generation.
Well, the 80s are for the kids.
It's throwback.
It is definitely throwback. It's like us, listening to the Beatles or 60s music for us. They grew up listening to this in the car with their folks.
Yeah.
So this isn't.
It's timeless. It's pop culture, inescapable music, and I tried to keep it. I played a few deep cuts, but I tried to
play the hits.
I tried to play the hits, but I also tried to throw some curveballs or play some things that maybe were a hit, but you didn't remember. And it was so much fun, and I had such great feedback.
Man, people absolutely loved it.
Yeah. If you go to the Twitter machine and just punch in hashtag Ticket 80s Prom, you can see all of the awesome pictures that people tweeted, including several of the hosts, Dan McDowell and Jake and Donnie, of their tuxes and their dates for their prom when they were in high school. And like I said, the unticket, the unsung hero of the ticket, they're ticket fans that do the archiving. They do all the hard work for the ticket. And so if you go to theunticket.com and just search Ticket 80s Prom or search Davey, you can pull it up. And I will add that link to oldwaver.com on this episode's page on oldwaver.com. But I just wanted to backsell that because I was so proud of the way it came off and the impact that it had, because unbeknownst to me, the world spiraled out of control that week.
Yeah.
That it was the Friday after the George Floyd murder, and it was in the middle of all of the riots and demonstrations across the country. And I didn't have the TV on. I wasn't watching the news. This was on a Friday night from 9 p.m. and I finished up at 2.
Yeah.
I did 5 full hours.
Which is great for me because I was coming from the Deep Blues show.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that later.
But it was cool. I'm glad I got to listen to a ton of it live, and you just kept going.
Yeah,
so it was awesome
because I had a full playlist of selects. You know, the weeks leading up to it, I was earmarking songs that I wanted to play.
And at the end of the night, you're not going to run out.
No, I mean I had another 100 songs that I could have played. You know, I mapped out the first hour, and then after that, I was kind of just freeform.
What was the kickoff? What was the number? Because I wasn't there at the beginning. Because
the very first song was "Tears for Fears Shout."
Oh, that's great.
Because I thought it was a cathartic moment.
Did you do the 12-inch or did you do the?
No, I think it was the album version, but it was the long version.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I followed that up with the long album version of Prince's 1999. Yeah, it was great fun. Had tons of great response, and it actually, in spite of everything that was happening in the news, it was trending #1 on Twitter in DFW that evening, and it even poked its head on the national trends. So any P1s and of course all of the ticket regulars that participated, just want to say thank you. And I hope that this will be the start of something more, that I have many ideas of how to take what I've learned from Ticket 80s Prom and what I've learned from HTWOW and putting them in a blender and creating content for Ticket P1. So we'll see if that leads to anything in the long term. But I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. And for those HTWOW fans that have no idea of anything about the ticket, please go to oldwaver.com and click on the June 2020 post, and I will post the link to the audio. They cut out all the commercials. So
that's cool.
They cut the 5 hours down to like 3.
That's great.
And it's just nonstop hit makers. Hit makers.
Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
And this is just for the non-Dallas listeners. You should maybe explain or give us a definition of what P1 means, because we do say that a lot.
Yes.
And I think that people go, what is a P1?
Right. Well, it's an Arbitron is the Nielsen of radio. Arbitron does the ratings for radio stations, and Arbitron uses the term P1 to say that if you are the P1 of a station, that you listen to that station to the exclusion of all others. That when you're listening to the radio, you only listen to that station.
Oh, that's funny. Do you want to know what I thought it was?
There was program 1.
When you have on your car, there are your program presets, and it's P1 through
It could be related to that as well, but they have P1, P2, P3. So P1, you're devoted to just one station. P2, you spend the majority of the time with that station, but you listen to other stations.
Is that what they're referencing though when they talk about it?
Mike Reiner was the one who brought it to the air.
Okay. All right.
Because, as I said, it was an industry term, much like Letterman back in the 80s pulled back the curtain on NBC. Rhines was very much interested in pulling back the curtain on the inner workings of radio and ticket management and all of that. And so that's how it came to be. So,
okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I thought it was something else. Well, or sort of the same thing.
You weren't totally wrong. You were just kind of wrong.
I'm never completely wrong.
And you're Toby.
I know. Well, what are we doing next? Are we opening another beer? Are you hitting the other tune first?
I am about to hit you with another tune. I did open a second Polygamy porter, which
they're tasty.
I think you're taking a break.
I've gone back
it's a little too heavy for you.
To a Corona. It wasn't that heavy. But
well, we'll switch up the beers.
I like to palate cleanse before the next beer.
We'll switch up the beers after this next tune. But my next tune is I guess you could say that this particular song, not the artist, but this particular song owes a debt to Kraftwerk because it is a very synthy tune, and this guy is not necessarily known for synthy jams. The guy is a friend of HTWOW.
Okay.
And a guy that we have played on the show before. His name is Sondre Lerche.
Oh, I say Lerche.
Lerche? Sondre Lerche?
Sondre Lerche. I don't know if that's right.
I don't know. I mean, we're not close enough friends to know how to pronounce his name. But
were you at the Gypsy Tea Room show?
No, I've never seen him live.
It was good.
He did a Dada show not too long ago that I really wanted to go to, and I did not go to. But he just put out a brand new record. I don't know if you knew this.
No, I didn't. I haven't heard from him in years.
It is so good. So his last full-length release was 2017. The album was called Pleasure. But this month, here in June 2020, he just put out his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well,
he cranks them out.
Hold on. I'm not going to count soundtracks or the deconstructed version of Pleasure. So let me count again. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. This is his 8th by my unofficial count. His 8th full-length record.
He's real good.
He is a Norwegian dude. He has spent the last decade plus living in Brooklyn, but I guess he broke up with his significant other, his girlfriend, and decided to move to LA. So he currently lives in LA.
That seems to be a trend of the Brooklyn peoples.
However, this record was recorded almost entirely in his home country of Norway. And there's an interesting story about this tune that I want to get into after we play it. But I just want to say that this record, Patience, is by far my favorite thing that he's ever done.
Really? Even compared to that first one?
Yes. Faces Down was his first one. Came out in 2002 in the U.S.
When's the last time you had a revisit on that?
Probably the last time you played something off of it on the After Dark or something.
I think we had a full. That was one of my. You might have missed this. That might have been our first 2 episodes.
And then 2004 Two-Way Monologue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both of those records are great. But I'm here to tell you that this Patience record is so good. And it really was difficult for me to decide what to play on the regular pod because there are a half a dozen songs that I could have chosen. I I think I'm going to probably play a double shot on the After Dark.
Double shot.
Because there's just so much gold on this record.
Jalapeno Pat.
It kind of spans all of his styles. He likes to do the pop numbers. He likes to do kind of the chamber pop. He likes to do the singer-songwritery thing. And he's got some electronic flavor on this album as well. And I love it all. And so let's listen to this outstanding and very personal jam from Sondre Lerche. Or what did you say? Did I say it the way you say it?
I say Sondre Lerche. Sondre Lerche.
Sondre Lerche. Maybe if we ever see him, we'll ask him. How do you pronounce your name, bro?
I'm not digging in on that because I'm not sure.
So this song is entitled That's All There Is, and it's brand new on HTWOW.
That's all there is, a stream of captures, that look you wore, the sunset backwards, your lips and mine, our faces backlit, that foreign sign, how we misread it. Heading out to see my love, it has been too long for us. Heading out to see you all, it has not been long enough. Catching up with you again, catching up is everything. Every moment nears an end, let's not wait so long again. That's all there is. Some days we had it, that thing you said, the way you said it, your secret smile will always kill me. That's all there is, our finest heartbeats. That's all there is. That's all there is, a stream of captures, somewhere inside, a stream of captures, that's everything, a stream of captures, that's all there is, our finest heartbeats, that's all there is. That's all there is. That's all. That's all there is.
Man, he's got a sound.
Yeah.
That sounds like Sondre Lerche. Do you remember my story of how we found out about him?
No.
We had that middle studio. Remember the second one that was on Ross right by downtown Dallas? The bigger one that had the...
Oh, yeah. It was the
yeah.
giant place.
Yeah. Jeff Whittington, we were doing a lot of 100 Inevitable stuff around that time, and he was working for KERA. And I think it might have been an Astral Works compilation.
Yeah.
Sounds like he would have been on that, right?
Yeah, I believe.
I think
those
Kraftwerk
first records were.
on their later records were on Astral Work as well. I want to say it was on that, but he found that compilation in a bin, like in a trash bin, and picked it up. And we found like 3 bands from that compilation that we were like, dude, these are awesome. And then we really got in the Sondre Lerche song. I forget which one was on it, but we thought it was amazing. And so we got the whole record and we're like, dude, this kid, because at that time he was like 17 or something.
Yeah, he's only 37 now, so he's been around since. I mean, he was like kind of a child prodigy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we're like, man, this dude, he's gonna be huge, you know. And then we see him at Gypsy Tea Room and stuff like that later. No one knows who he is, and we're like, how is this guy not, you know? He seems to be doing well, I guess, if he's doing soundtracks and doing all kinds of stuff. But I would have thought at this point he would be a much more of a household name.
Yeah, and it's funny.
I mean, we don't even know how to say it.
I know. Well, it's funny. The title track, Patience, it's the first track on the album, and that's one of the tracks that I will play on the After Dark. He has this spoken word section towards the end, and it's basically that. It's talking about running into fans after shows and somebody saying to him, I can't believe nobody knows who you are.
Yeah. It's amazing. I think I met him at Gypsy Tea Room, and I was kind of like, yeah, man, I can't believe you're just standing here in the crowd and no one knows who you are. It's weird.
Yeah, he has a very cynical view on stardom in the music industry, as you might expect.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting just in the genesis of this song. And I think it was it 2 months ago we played the Washed Out Jam on the pod?
Yeah, it was either...
I think it was the April pod.
Okay.
But that Washed Out Jam, because of COVID times, they had to kind of crowdsource their video.
Mm-hmm.
And had people send in vacation photos that they stitched all together. Well, Sondre Lerche, I'm going to adopt your pronunciation. Did I say it?
That's how I've always said it, but let's go with it, even though it's probably
How
wrong.
about we just call him SL?
It's got to be Sondre Lerche, right? He's from
I don't
Norway.
know. I don't know. But anyway, he had people send in pictures of themselves as kids.
Cool.
And so the whole video is just all of these family memories. It's really, really cool and touching. And he talks about the genesis of this song. He says, I rarely write songs in the studio, but this was an exception. It happened at the very end of recording Patience. He said that he and his producer were tweaking another song, and then he wrote this melody, and they recorded the basic track on guitar. Then they transferred his guitar to MIDI and turned it into the synth sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then that inspired him. And because he was recording in Norway, he says, when I record at home, I always stay with my mom, so I sleep in my old room. And so he was writing the words to this song in the middle of the night, and he was thinking about a friend of his, a director who had died accidentally and suddenly. And so he was going and looking through his phone, looking for photos of his friend. And then he started thinking about how that phones have gotten this negative connotation in our culture because the government's tracking you, because
or whatever, yeah.
because everyone is looking at their phones and not paying attention to the people around them. But he says, I feel that phones get a bad rep. So this song is sort of a tribute to the fact that we can all walk around with thousands of images of our loved ones at all times, and that those collections of moments represent what gives life meaning. That's all there is the experiences that we share with the people that we love.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Anyway, I wanted to play that for you because I know he has a soft spot in your heart. Mm-hmm. And even though or at least I don't know how to pronounce his name, we want everyone else to figure out how to pronounce his name and download his record.
I'm just glad that he's still around and still able to do stuff. You know, in this day and age where you hit that kind of weird status of you're known, but you're not. You know what I mean?
You're a career musician. You are able to make a living making music, but you have maybe already reached the peak of your popularity.
And he's still in studios in Brooklyn and doing things. Yeah. That's awesome. And now he's in LA. Good.
And hopefully once COVID's over, he'll play Dada again and we can whip his ass and find out how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, and be like, how do you say it, man?
Bro.
Hey.
Are you ready for beer number 2?
I'm ready for beer number 2, and I'm ready for some more Kraftwerk.
Yeah.
Bro.
Let me chug the rest of this Polygamy porter. Hold on. Oh, God. You know, my wife is extremely impressed with my ability to slam the end of a beer.
Yeah, man, when I was a kid, the thought of chugging a beer, like, you know,
just opening your throat and letting it
grabbing
flow down.
a genuine draft and have that thing go all the way down. No. But boy, there you do.
But yeah, that was a half a pint, and I just threw it down.
You definitely do hit a time in your life where all the taste buds are gone. There's some cold ones at the bottom.
Our listeners have missed this sound so much.
I know, it's right there. You're not going to slam that top, are you?
Ready?
You ready? Reverb. Boom.
Here you go.
Oh, thanks, Bria. Golly.
So this is another brewery that we have had on the pod before. I think I got the order wrong because
Jesus.
The Polygamy Porter was 6%. Usually we drink the stronger beer first.
Yeah, you're stepping it up, Chief.
But our second beer, thank you, Goodfriend Package,
yay,
is from Highlands Brewery. It's entitled DF Dub, and it is 7.1.
Goodness gracious. It has a traffic cone on it.
It does fit in with our Kraftwerk theme because the style of this beer is a Dunkelweizen.
First two Kraftwerk records, Kraftwerk 1 and 2, I think the artwork was a traffic cone. Am I wrong about that? I'm almost positive.
Dunkelweizens are the brunette siblings of Bavarian Hefeweizens.
Well, they went with that Russian propaganda look too on the. Do you see that on the DF Dub?
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Dark, complex, and slightly cloudy. DF Dub starts with banana and cloves, and finishes crisp and clean. Sorry. Really fine white type on a colored background. Always bad for my old man eyes. How is this treating you, bro?
It's taken a second, I'll be honest with you. It's got a bite to it.
Yeah, I thought they were crazy talking about banana and clove, but
boy,
I'll be damned.
It's in there.
It's like there's a banana peel muddled at the bottom of the glass.
It really is. There's some stuff going on there.
One of those stringy pulp things caught on your lip.
German Dunkelweizen.
But now we have a proper German beer to listen to more German electronica.
We do.
You get used to it.
That'll stick with you.
Mm-hmm.
That will stick with you.
You got to drink the whole thing. You don't have to drink a second one, but you got to drink the whole thing, bro.
All right, so we've skipped over Audubon.
Mm-hmm.
We've played Trans Europe Express.
So
now,
We're on to the Man Machine.
This is also around the time that, around the 70s and even a lot of bands, they put out records. You know what I mean? Like, records are going.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wait like a year. You go back and you record another record, right?
Record company demands it.
I would love to see the record company demanding something to Kraftwerk. Like that meeting, how that went down. But now we are on the Man Machine.
Yeah, so Trans-Europe Express was 77, the Man Machine 78. And as you mentioned, the look, the branding, if you think about Kraftwerk visually, the cover of Man Machine is what you think of, because they've got their pasty white skin.
This is when they're becoming robots.
Their slicked back dark hair, looking like androids. Their pink lips, their red shirts, their skinny black ties, and their gray slacks.
This is where a lot of the early English bands, synth bands, and a lot of not just the music influence, they're taking this. Like even Joy Division has a thing, even the look of a lot of their artwork and just factory records, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of things come from the look of Man Machine. And this is when they have decided they're even getting further away from wanting to be considered real people.
Right. And kind of Gary Newman took that to the next level.
Yeah, and
because he wore the pancake makeup. He wanted to look like he was animatronic.
He had the skinny tie.
But he took the Kraftwerk formula and made it more pop.
Yeah, whereas even in the doc I saw the other day, there's even a little kind of backlash on the Gary Newman thing, whereas they're saying like bands like the Human League and Depeche Mode took things to a different level. Some people thought Gary Newman might have been copying a little too much. I don't think so.
No.
I think Gary Newman was making these pop songs out of this style of music, and he came from a punk background, and
I think he definitely borrowed a page from their marketing playbook.
He definitely did. And so did a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they all took this stuff. Gary Newman was the first famous one. So I think that there was a little bit of... Gary Newman became more famous than Kraftwerk, is what happened. Mm-hmm. And I think that there might have been a little pushback there. Whereas the rest of them, for a long while, were all on the same level. Gary Newman was famous and had the very first keyboard super, not disco, but synth pop hit song with Cars. Mm-hmm. He took it to a completely other level, and so I don't really think that he took influences, obviously tons of them, but so did the rest of them. He just did it a bit earlier and better, right?
Yes. I agree with you.
Yeah. But so at this point, the Donna Summer thing's going on, disco is going on, dance clubs are happening. They're making this is when a lot of like super hard Kraftwerk fans are thinking that Man Machine isn't what Kraftwerk is anymore because it's not necessarily a concept record like their other ones. But I kind of think it is. Robots is the first song on it, and they're all robots. And there's a thing called Space Lab and Metropolis. You know what I mean? It is a concept record. It just none of the songs aren't 50 minutes long anymore.
Right. And there's only 6 songs on the record.
Yeah, and you have to. They know at this point. Let's have a verse and let's do some stuff here and make some songs. However, there is a thing on their biggest hit from this record, and maybe their biggest hit of all time, that they themselves had a complaint about and could not understand ever why it worked. And so I want to see if you catch it by the end of it.
Okay.
Can I give you a quiz there, Dave, while you're listening to this?
So I have to pay extra attention.
You have to,
and then you're going to quiz me after.
Afterwards, I want you to tell me what's missing from the song.
Okay.
But it is by far, even to this day, it was re-released 3 different times and went to, I think it won like years and years later, it went to number 1 again in England. It's just one of these songs that just keeps resurfacing. It's a huge song for them, and it's called The Model. And it's creepy, but it's good, right? It's sort of creepy. But they're all robots finally, and they're not real human beings anymore. Do you want to listen to it?
I can't wait.
The Model. By
HTWOW.
Kraftwerk on HTWOW.
Cut out what I said.
I probably will.
She's a model and she's looking good. I'd like to take her home, that's understood. She plays hard to get, she smiles from time to time. It only takes a camera to change her mind. She's going out to nightclubs drinking just champagne. And she has been checking nearly all the men. She's playing her game and you can hear them say she's looking good for beauty, we will pay. She's posing for consumer products now and then. For every camera she gives the best she can. I saw her on the cover of a magazine. Now she's a big success, I want to meet her again.
I am prepared with my answer.
What's your answer, Dave?
That song does not have a chorus.
It doesn't have a chorus. And so when they had it, they definitely thought, and like any band, you never think that your biggest hit is going to be your hit. They thought this was just easily a throwaway tune because it doesn't have a chorus. They never, ever, it doesn't even have a pre-chorus. It has nothing. The guy just is explaining some stuff, and they just play some stuff around it. But it is easily their biggest.
You just break out a camera and she'll do whatever you want.
Yeah. And I think that they're mainly talking about, because they're at this point, they're robots. They're talking about mannequins. So they're talking about things in windows.
Okay.
When you start to really listen to it. But it's super cool. But this is the thing, when I was talking about the Blitz Club earlier, Rusty Egan.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they have their synth night or electronic music night at these clubs, people are just packing this place because it is what they want to hear. So it's Soft Cell and Human League and Depeche Mode and all these bands that are cranking out as many tunes as they can because they don't even have enough music to play on dance night or synth night. You know what I mean? They don't want it to be disco.
Yeah,
they want
you
it to
don't
be,
have 30 years of synth pop to choose from.
Right.
You only have what's brand new.
What's brand new. And so they're playing anything they can get their hands on. But what the English synth bands are doing and what Kraftwerk starts seeing is English bands are using their Beatles influence and songwriting influence and American music as far as melodies on top of synth music and using synthesizers to make full-on pop songs, standard pop songs, which was never really done before. So now they're kind of like, oh crap, you know what I mean? They're trying to figure this out at this point. And later on, they have a couple of little pop numbers and all that, but I think at this point, all the influences of how to do this has been taken from them. But, I mean, how can you compete with that? Of where you're getting really full-on singers singing over.
Right, they're never going to belt out a song.
It's not going to happen like that.
The trends of electronic music passed them by. They were the foundation.
They were ahead of the game, 10 years ahead of everything for the entire time, and
they kept it weird. They were like Austin.
Yeah, and now it's caught up with them. So now they're starting to make cool soundscapes and stuff like that. But we'll get to that later on. And keeping it totally weird. But I can't play everything.
No.
You know what I mean? In the 80s, they had the song that we opened the show up with. That might be one of my favorite songs of theirs, and that's what, 1986?
Computer Love? No, that was 81.
You sure?
Yeah,
that's right.
Computer World was 81.
Technopop was 86, right?
Let me go back to the list.
The Electric Cafe stuff.
Yeah, Electric Cafe was 86.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and by the way, Electric Cafe, the title track is the theme from Sprockets.
Yeah.
So when Mike Myers says, "Now's the time on Sprockets when we dance."
Yeah.
And then it's doom doom doom.
Yeah, because think about it.
That's Kraftwerk.
He's a kid right when all this is hitting him full on. Because he's what, Scottish, right?
I don't know, is he?
I think he's half Canadian, half Scottish.
Oh yeah, I thought he was full Canadian, but maybe not.
I think he's a half and half. But yeah, so I feel like the next song that I'm gonna play doesn't give them justice for what they did in the 80s, but I like it, so I'm just gonna play it. And then if you want to hear other stuff, we'll play stuff in the After Dark or go revisit. This is all just a intro to Kraftwerk.
Yeah,
what can I do?
We can't
stay here forever.
No, we have roughly 2 hours. We try and keep it under 2 hours, but Lord knows we get too drunk and rambly to...
And this is a tough one. Every time we do a book report, I'm going to have to cut out a lot of stuff because I ramble and we keep going. We keep going.
It's okay.
But now you're up. We're still keeping drinking this DFW beer.
I know.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
You got another tune. Do you have, before we get to the other tune, do you have any stories? Do you have any COVID break stories? Do you have anything?
Well, I wanted to tell you that much like you said that you were not able to listen to the full Ticket 80s Prom live because you were otherwise engaged, I was not able to watch your show live because I was doing Ticket 80s Prom. However, I did go back and pull up the Deep Blue Something show at Lava Cantina on the Facebook. And
we did a Coven drive-in show.
Yeah, and so not only did I didn't just pull it up on my phone. I pulled it up on my TV.
I saw the pic.
And then I turned on my sound system and cranked it.
I have to say, they did a pretty good job.
It sounded awesome.
A live stream of that. I mean, it's still so clean
so
that you want it to be a little bit more live reverby, but still, it's good though.
Yeah, so go back to the beginning and tell the listeners, tell the HTWOW fans how this even came about.
Well, it's funny because this came about so quickly because every single show... Like, I think that exact same night, we were supposed to be in Lake Charles with, like, Smash Mouth.
Oh,
like a
the
casino or
90s
something.
tour that got canceled?
Yeah, everything this summer, it all got canceled, right? I mean, everything got canceled. So we were kind of just sitting around, and we got a call of, hey, Lava Cantina and Raising Cane's is doing a concert drive-in series at Lava Cantina where when you drive up, there is a massive screen in the parking lot with a huge PA sound system.
Yeah, so I was trying to understand. So they have at Lava Cantina, which is in North Texas up in the Colony off of 121, they have a huge outdoor stage and outdoor kind of amphitheater area.
With like a lake behind, or like just a pond.
Yeah. And so there were people in that area, but then the show was also simulcast on this giant screen out in the parking lot, and people could choose to watch it in their cars.
Well, there's like a little balcony area where you play, right? Because the stage is real high. So you can, there was a few people that they could let sprinkle up in the balcony area because it's outside.
Mm-hmm.
But on the floor, they had it gated off into these tables or these where you could sit. But those people, you had to buy your individual square and you couldn't be around other people. Do you know what I mean?
You were in your little pen.
They were basically in a little pen that I think they could go back and forth to the bar or the restroom, but you couldn't go out of your pen. And there was only a few of them that could be in the place. But outside where we couldn't see, you could drive in and tune it into your car radio system.
Okay. Simulcast, like shortwave or something?
I guess so. And we never saw this. Like, I only saw the screen during sound check before we played. But I don't know if you heard on the thing, I tried to get people to honk horn. Like, we couldn't see them. And they're so far away that we're playing to people that, who knows. But the main thing is the stream went out. The live stream went out to everyone. And it ended up being over like 30, 40,000 streams.
Like live at the time or total?
I think total maybe later. I think at the time it was like 20,000, which is still, God, what was the chair? It was a donation.
I can't remember.
Oh, presented by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers and Lava Cantina, raising funds to help support Direct Relief.
Is that the name of the charity?
Yes.
Direct Relief?
Direct Relief.
I had Direct Relief earlier when I bombed your powder room out there.
Anyway, the whole thing was to benefit a charity called Direct Relief that you can go on and donate while you're watching the concert.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of signed things, from the Dallas area or people that have played there before, and it's like
silent auction style.
It was a cool thing, and we knew about it a week before and got it together and actually put the show together for the next Friday.
Well, like I said, it sounded great.
It was fun. It was weird to play it, but it was fun.
It looked good. As far as live streams go, it looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet is forever, so it's out there. So if you go to oldwaver.com and you scroll down the post for June 2020, right underneath Ticket 80's Prom, I will post Deep Blue Something's direct relief fundraiser gig.
Yeah, and it was, what's funny is we came back for an encore, and they hadn't had one of those yet. So they didn't know what to do, so they stopped the stream at the end of our show and then started a brand new one. So on our page, a lot of people are going on there and looking at just the last 2 songs of the encore.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
And the full concert,
I didn't watch the last 2 songs then.
Yeah, the full concert is the one below that.
Okay. Super hyped host guy in his vest.
Man, that guy is
he
really
had
good
a lot
at
of
that.
energy.
He had a lot of words.
Yeah.
He was very good at it.
Yeah, he brought the noise for sure.
Man, he when it was halftime of our show, which we hate to do, but it needed to be done for the auction thing, we walk off stage and he talked the entire time and interviewed Todd. We were supposed to be all of us, but we stuck.
Right. Well, and Todd gave a awesome shout out to Ticket 80's Prom, told everybody to listen to it on their way home.
Yeah,
so that was awesome.
Because, Deep Blue and the Ticket go way back.
Yeah.
Dave.
You used to be the house band for the
Musers.
Gentle Musers studio audience shows.
I know. It sucks. The only thing that sucks is that there were a lot of our friends. Actually, it's a cool thing that there were a lot of our friends that were listening to your show on their balcony or their porch, and when it would hit a commercial, then they would tune into us and watch the show. And
multitasking.
Then the second the commercial was over, would go back to you for the hits.
Well,
so
but
awesome.
if you go to oldwaver.com and you click on June 2020, you can listen and enjoy both in their entirety.
Yeah, pretend like you're doing it right on the spot.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that it's a month, a year, 10 years down the road.
10 years down the road.
You can still enjoy things on the internet because the internet's forever.
Giga lasts forever. We'll be embarrassed forever.
No, but it did sound awesome. And
thanks, man. It was fun.
I had it cranked on the system. And, I know you're a stickler for how stuff sounds. And I just got to tell you, I don't know if you've actually gone back and listened to...
Oh, no, I did. I was very... for streams are the most nervous thing for anyone because they always sound terrible.
Right, you're worried that they're going to be compressed, that, there's going to be no separation.
It's nothing but vocals and a little bit of snare drum. But this one, they did a really good job. A little too... when you do things like that, they like to keep it bright on stage so people can see you.
Yeah.
That's not really our style. But I get it. I see. They need it for TV. We like it darker up there, Dave.
You're getting older. You don't want your crow's feet.
We don't want people to see our faces. Because we're robots.
You should start wearing the pancake makeup.
Man, I would love to be able to do that. That'd be great. I see what they were doing there. But speaking of even all that, the Kraftwerks... around this time also started really getting into fitness and biking because of their time in France, and became vegetarians. For a band in the 70s, this is a new thing.
Very progressive.
Very
what?
So they're starting to
Very
progressive. And so
thank you, DF Dub.
So that will eventually lead to my next stuff, but let's get to your next stuff.
Yeah. So my next stuff definitely owes a debt to Kraftwerk, but there's a more immediate debt to OMD.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the group that I am about to play, they're brand new. They are entitled Nation of Language. So last month I had Houses of Heaven.
Okay.
Which was a fantastic synth pop throwback band out of Oakland. Nation of Language is a fantastic synth pop throwback band out of Brooklyn.
Brooklyn!
So the main dude is a guy named Ian Devaney. And he grew up in New Jersey. And he had a band in high school called Static Jacks.
Were they like a Bon Jovi cover band?
No, they were like kind of like emo punk. You know, back in
Nothing like Bon Jovi.
like the late tens, the 10 teens. Static Jacks, I guess this was around 2010. They signed a record deal, they released an album, they went on a tour, and then they were going to release their sophomore album in 2013, and everything just fell apart.
He killed his brother.
And so at that point, Ian Devaney decided that he wanted to do his own thing, that he was done being in a band.
Hey,
And he wanted to do his own thing.
I'm Ian Devaney.
And so his dad... Hey, I'm Ian Devaney. I'm from Jersey.
Hey, Papa, help me out with this band. I'm going crazy.
Hey, Dad, play that OMD record.
Hey, what's that weird record you used to play with the guy that can't dance?
Yeah, so his dad, he remembered driving around with his dad and his dad listening to the OMD song Electricity.
In New Jersey?
Uh-huh, yeah. I mean, his dad probably wasn't a mob guy.
I'm guessing his dad was not a Jovi fan.
Right. And so he decided that he wanted to just, for fun, try and make a song that sounded like OMD's Electricity.
Okay.
And then so eventually it turned into this project called Nation of Language. And he put out an EP on Bandcamp, and things kind of progressed. And then suddenly he had a bunch of interest, and he was like the next big thing in Brooklyn, and he formed a band. And all of these New York journalists and blogs and influencers.
Are blogs still things?
I don't know. But they started taking notice of him, and so last month, I guess this came out in May. I don't know if it came out in May or it came out beginning of June. But Nation of Language just put out their first record. They put out a bunch of singles, and most of the singles ended up on the record. But the record is called... Hold on a second.
Devaney goes crazy.
It's called Introduction Presents.
Oh, that's not at all what I was thinking.
And I wanted to play a song for you that is entitled Rush and Fever.
Rush and Fever.
Now, he lists a lot of references, basically a who's who. Obviously, we mentioned OMD, but Human League, Simple Minds, Flock of Seagulls, Tears for Fears, New Order. You can definitely hear Kraftwerk. You can definitely hear Gary Newman. There's a lot of stuff that we can grab onto, that we can like, and I think you will like this. It's derivative, but it's fresh. So let's listen to Nation of Language, Rush and Fever on HTWOW.
Causing it
Save me, save my soul. I couldn't find you there.
Makes me want to drink another banana beer.
Get you another beer. It really reminds me of that Mirrors band.
Mm-hmm. There are parts of it that remind me of Drab Majesty, to bring it back to another HTWOW favorite.
Man, I love what the kids are doing now.
I know,
It
right?
is happening right in front of our eyes. They're doing this.
If you look for it, it's there.
What are they doing?
They are absorbing everything that our generation put out, and they are synthesizing it and making more awesome stuff.
Man, we're about to be the biggest podcast of all time.
We're on the cutting edge, bro.
We're the Kraftwerk of podcasts.
Woo! Man, this banana beer is kicking my ass.
It is so terrible.
DF Dub in the house. Hey, Willow.
Man, where's Willow?
She heard me screaming and she came in to see what was wrong.
Like, everything cool, guys?
Everything cool.
Do I need to kill something?
Are you guys all right? Yeah. So that is Nations of Language. How do you feel about that?
Man, it's good. I gotta say.
Nation of Language. I guess it's singular.
Devaney, you're driving me crazy with your new sounds.
Devaney, what's up with that gay
What's
music
up?
you're playing?
It's so crazy. Your sister Leather Tuscadero's tripping out. Remember Leather Tuscadero?
I do.
Remember her? Was it her sister? Was Pinky?
Yeah, I remember Pinky Tuscadero more than Leather Tuscadero.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one was Aldo Nova?
No idea.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Was Aldo Nova? Was that Balls to the Wall?
No, Aldo Nova looked like the dude.
No, that was Accept, not Aldo Nova.
Aldo Nova looked like the other girl on Happy Days. Aldo Nova kind of looked like Leather Tuscadero.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it.
Hold on, let me turn down the bad music and I'll sing you Aldo Nova. Life is just a fantasy. Can you live this fantasy life? Do you remember that song? Meow, meow.
I think you need to sing it some more.
Meow, 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 meow. Life is just a fantasy. Can you live this fantasy life? You don't remember Aldo Nova?
I think you just need to keep going.
No, hold on. I'm playing it.
You need to play it on the After Dark. Is what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm just playing a snippet. There's no way I can leave that out there hanging, right? Hold on, everyone, chill out. Aldo Nova is about to hit.
Everybody, take a sip of your banana beer while Toby searches Spotify.
It comes up right away. Guess what his first song is? Fantasy. I just sang it.
Uh-huh. Don't eat the carpet, girl. Hey, see what I said?
That was great. Ooh, I don't remember this. I remember the helicopter. I remember in the video there was a helicopter that he came out of.
It was the worst helicopter sound effect ever.
This is a bonus track on the pod.
Get to it.
It's called an intro, bro.
It's the intro after the intro.
Yes! Turn me loose. You don't remember this song?
Oh yeah.
I sang it perfectly.
I need to put this on the next 80s prom playlist.
City nights, summer breeze make you feel alright.
Yeah!
Neon lights, shining bright, they make a rainy night. See the girls with the dresses so tight. Give you love if the price is right. Black or white, in the streets there's no wrong and no right, no.
I want to stop it, but I can't.
I know.
I'll just wait.
Out of sight by your kids from the man in the white. Feels alright, powder pleasure in your nose tonight. See the man paint the faces and cry like some girl and makes you wonder why. City light, sure
Here comes
is
the chorus,
cool,
ready?
but it cuts like a knife, like a knife. It's nice.
Oh, pre-chorus, sorry.
It's not reality. It's just a fantasy. Can't you see what this crazy
You know,
life is
if you
doing
played
to me?
this and asked me to guess who it was, I think I would have guessed Asia.
Listen to that. Okay, sometimes things are just too good.
Sometimes they're too good for this world.
Crap. Man.
Why didn't I write that?
I don't know. He just got off that helicopter and got into it. But I remember he looked like Leather Tuscadero.
Okay. All right.
Leather Tuscadero was a pop singer.
Before we get to your last jam, your final entry in the Kraftwerk book report, I want to touch on a few housekeeping items, if I may.
Sure.
First, I want to give you some viewer mail.
Okay. Is it nice?
Yes, it's nice. We have one new review on the iTunes. By the way, I have noticed in the fallout from Ticket 80's Prom, just looking at the trends and listening habits of people who learned of HTWOW via Ticket 80's Prom, and welcome if you're listening, that I think more people listen to podcasts on Spotify now than on Apple. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I'm going to distance from that because I don't want to cause any ripples in the ocean of pod listening.
Yeah, I don't
formats.
know. I don't know for real, but anyway, we are available obviously on both Spotify.
I just said ocean of pod listening formats.
I understood what you said.
That's pretty cool. What I just made up.
The ocean of
pod
podcast
listening formats.
So the thing about Spotify
Yes.
is that, as far as I know, there's not a way to review. There's not like a podcast chart.
Yeah, Spotify does not like you to interact.
Yes. However, Apple Podcasts, they have a very robust rating system, and we have 61 5-star ratings, and our most recent rating is from a buddy named RM George, His lead is good music, good hosts, good podcast. And then his review is great podcast to just flip on and go about your day.
That's kind of our whole thing.
Yeah, we're background noise.
Yeah, man.
I mean, wash your dog, do the dishes,
mow the lawn,
walk around your neighborhood, do whatever you need to do.
Paint some rocks.
Just put us on in the background.
Jam some Nova.
And if you like this pod, by all means, go on the iTunes store and look us up and write us a review. Also, wanted to give a shout out to, I guess, a future patron.
Okay.
Justin says, well, he entitles this email, Your Worst Fan. And if you would like to email us, our email address is HTWOWpod@gmail.com. He says, Dear Dave and Toby, I'm your worst fan. I will listen to the podcast and then forget about it. Not really forget, but see shiny objects in the corner of the room. Well, now I'm back on it. Recently, my job has moved about 30 extra miles away where it was, and I thought this is a good time to reconnect as I travel unknown roads to get to my job stuff. To put a timestamp on it, I too believe Suede is underrated.
Yes.
With my extended commute time, I'll be pledging to the After Dark soon as I really enjoy the tunes. They good. In the event you read this on air with my track record, I won't hear it until December. Regardless, much love.
All good. That's
so
good.
Thank you, Justin. And speaking of the After Dark, which hopefully Justin will one day become a member, the After Dark is the drunken after party of this podcast. It is Toby and myself, sometimes a cast of characters, but usually not. And we play at least 12 songs, sometimes more, of stuff that we want to hear after we've played the stuff on this podcast. And crazy crap happens, like this.
Silence only has 11,000 right before it. Still pretty good. Pretty good. They do have a song called Winter Beats.
11,000 plays?
Yeah.
That's not good. How is that good?
It's pretty good for they're on belly. They're getting going.
I could do 11,000 plays in one night.
Why do you scratch everything you say like a DJ? It's weird.
I can.
They do have a song called Winter Beats that is 2 million. Have you heard that, Dave?
I.
Do you know Winter Beats?
I can.
Dave, do you know Winter Beats? He's muted. I can't hear him.
He knows, but there he goes.
Now he's gone.
Did his phone die? Did his phone die?
He just picked a song and he bailed.
Yep. I know. I think his phone died. So opportune.
I love that he looked right at Marissa right before it happened. Like for some reason it was her fault. Oh, here he goes.
I know.
Dave, do you know a song called Winter Beats?
No.
They have 2 million on that.
I'm sure that's a good jam, but that's not the one I want to play.
I didn't say we're gonna play it, Dave.
I want to play the new jam.
Jesus
Christ.
Guys,
I
knew we'd
I'll
get
be
it.
the death of you. I just want you guys to get along. Come on, guys. Come on.
No one really wants us to get along.
I mean,
dude,
you can't put a price on that, but it's at least $5 a month.
Yeah, and we love our friends being involved, and they will be involved, sprinkled throughout the year.
Will they?
But let's get back to our norm on this one.
Yeah, let's get back to the stars of the show.
Let's play some tunes that we have complete control
Yeah, let's not play random Moldavian jams from people that no one has heard of.
I don't know. I disagree with that. That was one of my favorites.
It was crazy.
That was really good.
It was crazy. So if you would like to become a patron, go to oldwaver.com and click on premium, or go to patreon.com and type in HTWOW and find us and become a patron. You get merch and the After Dark podcast every month. And as I said, as little as $5. And it helps us buy stuff to make this pod better.
Yeah.
You know.
It's really working
Support
out.
your bros during COVID times.
Listen to how great Dave's voice sounds. That's all because of you guys.
Yeah, this RE20 purchased by patron dollars.
Amazing.
All right, let's close out the book report on Kraftwerk so we can go have some dinner.
Okay. So we're at the Blitz Club. Things are going well for Kraftwerk. Things are going well for synth music in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bike enthusiasts. So what do you do around 1983, I guess? You need to write a tribute to the Tour de France.
I mean, I guess.
I'm with, in the same way of how Computer Love, it just sounds so pleasant. Do you know what I mean? It's just so nice. That's how I think of this song. And it's another sort of long one.
Yeah, so the Tour de France record was bookended by Computer World and Electric Cafe. I have Computer World in 81, the Tour de France single in 83,
but
and
also
then Electric Cafe in 86.
So the single came out in 1983 between Computer World and Electric Cafe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In 1983. So later on, in I think 2003,
they put out a whole record.
They put out a whole record for the 100th anniversary of the Tour de France.
Yes.
But those were all of different mixes of Tour de France and of other songs that they put out. And have you ever listened to that?
Mm-mm. Not the whole thing.
Dude, it's really good. The remixes for the Tour de France is good. And what's funny is I don't think they finished it in time for the actual race. But it doesn't matter anyway. And we'll get to another weird thing about Florian Schneider and the year he left the band and the rumor of why he left the band after I played Tour de France, but I'm playing the 1983 original version.
As you should.
The single between Computer World and Electric Cafe, and between 1986 and 2003, they didn't do anything.
No, they disappeared.
They were gone. I think some members left, and I think Wolfgang might have left right after Electric Cafe, and then later Carl, and we'll get into all that. But let's play Tour de France because it's so pleasant, and it's a little long, but hey, we already discussed that sometimes with Kraftwerk, we just got to sink in.
It's about the journey. So just imagine Lance on a mountain stage,
this
or
is
a
usually
time trial, pumping his heart to the max.
It's usually our guilty pleasure of the night is one of the last songs, and this is a guilty pleasure. Tour de France by the Bike Enthusiasts. Kraftwerk on HTWOW.
d'Azur et Saint-Tropez, Tour de France, Tour de France. Les Alpes et les Pyrénées, Tour de France, Tour de France. Dernière étape, Champs-Élysées, Tour de France, Tour de France.
great. It's like Autobahn, but with bicycles.
Or Trans-Europe Express. They're basically just taking the sounds, but
cars, trains, and bicycles.
Yeah, and the influence of well, not too far after that, but later on Depeche Mode's stuff with they used to use the breath noises a lot, you know, in different recordings, and like the snare sounds on World of My Eyes and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I love the use the human voice thing as a percussion instrument. But around that time, I forget which song, and I should look it up. So around 1984, you remember the movie Breakin?
Yeah. I remember Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo more.
Because of the title?
Uh-huh. Can I tell you a story about Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo while you're looking?
Yeah, hold on, let me find it so I have it. I'm ready to do some Breakin'. So yeah, later on, Tour de France was sampled for the movie Breakin'. And the weirdest thing, still to this day to me, is, and I get it because of the beats and that DJs could use Kraftwerk records because the songs lasted so long.
Yeah, they just loop it.
That they could just really, and DJs in general, they could take these records and make these cool DJ sets out of them. So yeah, in Breakin' in 1984, Tour de France was used so they could break to it. I mean, how weird is that? I mean, where would they even come across that? Except, I guess, the whole African Bambaataa thing was like everyone knew to get onto Kraftwerk at that point, or I don't know.
Yeah, it must have been a thing that if you want some beats to rap over, this is a good band to grab their record.
Yeah, so if you're going to, because that reached all the way, Kraftwerk reached all the way to Kanye. You know what I mean? He sampled stuff like. They never, in their wildest imagination, would think that a new version of music in the United States called rap or hip hop would start sampling their stuff, even after disco. So you have a story about Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, so...
Which was the bigger one? How many ones that the second one, the second movie was bigger than the first?
I don't know, but... Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo had to have shattered Breakin's box office. Not saying it's a better movie.
Do we need to revisit both of those tonight?
We probably do. But no, I had a friend in elementary school named Alan.
Okay.
And
it's generic.
Alan went to go see Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Uh-huh.
And I guess there's a love scene at some point in the movie.
I don't know. I don't remember.
And so at this particular juncture in the film, very passionate, tender moment between the two protagonists in the film. I don't know.
Breakin' 2 had a passionate moment.
Yeah, there's a passionate moment where, there's about to be some carnal...
Some lovin'?
Some carnal discovery, some lovin'.
Uh-huh.
And my friend Alan, in a crowded theater, yelled, "They're about to have sex!" And he took his movie theater pickle and threw it at the screen.
Wow.
And it hit the screen and made the entire screen undulate.
It wobbled?
Yeah, with his pickle...
With his
reverb.
So Alan decided in his moment of excitement.
Yeah, that he was about to see two people of color have sex on screen, and that made him throw his pickle at the screen.
He threw the pickle at the screen.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Holy crap! He got a pickle at a movie theater.
Uh-huh.
He's not like at a baseball game.
No,
he got a pickle at the movie theater and decided I don't even want it.
He got the 1 pound dill.
And he threw
by
it
the cash register.
He threw it at the screen.
Yep.
Man, Alan's awesome.
That's my only memory about Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
He threw his weird ass movie pickle at the Breakin' 2 love scene. Man, I want to see it now.
I know. Is it on Prime? Can we watch it tonight?
It is. You know it is. If it's not free, no one's ever seen it.
Oh man. God. Well, you know, I feel like that I have a whole new appreciation for Kraftwerk.
Well, I will tell you this. Let me give you the rumor of why he left the band.
Florian did?
Yeah.
Prior to his untimely death at a ripe old age of 75. Which is,
it's also really weird that all of the remasters go on the exact same year he left. Because I want to say, I think he left in 2009. Everything that's basically on Spotify or anything that you see now is all something happened in 2009. But the rumor is that and it's even on their Wikipedia and tons of articles, that he left the band because of an argument over a bike pump.
Yeah, according to Wiki, Schneider left the band after a dispute over a bicycle pump and did not perform on any of the dates of the Kraftwerk 2008 World Tour, with his last performance being in November 2006 in Spain.
Yeah, but those have been heavily disputed after that of course there was no argument over a bike pump, and that someone just put that somewhere because they thought that it was funny over their obsession over bicycles. I'm thinking of knowing band stuff that this is my bet, and this hasn't been written anywhere. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
That Rolf wanted to remaster all of the stuff that we hear now, and Florian was like, you don't need to remaster it. It's already done.
It's perfect.
It's perfect the way it is.
We already did that.
And there was an argument of remastering the entire catalog, and one of them maybe wanted to do it and the other one didn't.
So Florian...
That is my
Florian
theory.
died bitter and alone is what you're telling me.
No, supposedly everything was fine. All the stuff written by Rolf between then and afterwards, everything about Florian has all been incredibly kind. I'm thinking around 2009, Florian might have just gone, hey, you know what?
I'm like 60.
Yeah, I'm pretty cool with...
I'm okay to just tend my sheep or whatever the hell he's doing.
Can I just go to Germany and take it easy? I am sick of this. I really could throw a mannequin up there at this point. And like we were saying outside earlier, I really do regret never seeing those MoMA shows and their huge resurgence that they've had lately of their concerts that everyone loves so much, because it's so computer generated, digital screens, everything is tied in together, and supposedly their 3D thing looks amazing.
Yeah, I've had a couple of opportunities to see their 3D tour in recent years, and I haven't gone, and that's a big regret of mine. I hope I have an opportunity to see them, even though Florian is, I guess, 2009 was, or 2006 was the last time he was actually performing.
Well, yeah, and
they're like Blue Man Group at this point.
Yeah, Wolfgang's gone. They're all gone. I think Rolf might be the only one left, if he's even still performing.
So they're like Menudo, like the German Menudo.
Yeah, but at this point, you don't go to see the band, right? They
It's like going to see the Pink Floyd laser show.
Yeah, they put it into their system a long time ago that they're not real. And so you're going to see the spectacle of the show. And if they do, your Red Rocks thing that you were going to go to with Nolan and Aaron, maybe?
Mm-hmm, this summer.
That you were considering that got canceled. Of all the weird things to see at Red Rocks, that might be... I'm not going to go see Fish there.
No.
But I will go see...
Well, but
I might
it's
take
probably
a road
best.
trip to see.
It's probably best that it didn't happen because I probably would have taken too many edibles and then I probably would have jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, just decided that's it. Last concert I need to see.
Right.
And then just can opener right into a gully. I just said gully.
Right into a gully.
Right into a gully.
Well, thanks, guys. We've tried your patience the last few months with social distancing and now Kraftwerk. But if you've made it all the way to the end of the last 3 pods in a row, congratulations. You are
Yay!
an HTWOW super fan. And we love and cherish you.
Do you want me to crank back another Kraftwerk song?
Yeah,
so
I
you
think
can
you
kind
need
of finish this
I
out?
think you need to bring back Computer Love.
Okay. I mean, it's only going to be...
Should I give you a quick hint?
Yeah, I would love a hint from Hello. You want it over the Computer Love?
Yeah. I mean,
it makes sense.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, let's do it.
What are we doing here?
Hey, can we give them what they want? Have you ever heard of that? You ever heard of that noise?
Dear readers, are you getting ready to head out on a road trip with the family? What should you pack in the trunk? Organization is critical. You want to find out what you need quickly. First, items needed for an emergency should be easily accessible: a fire extinguisher, a reflector, a tire iron, and a bottle of water. Next, a cardboard or plastic box can hold other necessities: a well-stocked first aid kit, gloves, paper towels, a cell phone charger, sunscreen, a folding knife, and a box of tissues.
Jesus.
Take some time to plan for your trip and stock the trunk accordingly. Keep that in mind in these COVID times as you take your family vacation to a social distant locale near you. Stock your trunk with flares and first aid kits and animal crackers and water bottles.
I'm not gonna lie,
And tire irons.
I love an animal cracker. You like an animal cracker?
By the way, Greta via email says, Dear Heloise, I used to follow the trend of matching my lipstick to my outfit. The new rules are more forgiving. I now wear a shade that flatters my skin tone and don't worry so much about everything matching.
Man, I love this.
Let's just end on that one. Thank you so much for sacrificing 2 hours of your time to listen to us chat about music and play some tunes that you needed to hear. Maybe you didn't know you needed to hear them, but you needed to hear them. We hope that we have made COVID times a little more enjoyable. And please tell a friend about HTWOW. This pod cannot grow unless you grassroots people help it grow. You are the miracle grow. You are the Johnny Appleseed. You are the Heloise, spreading hints all across the land about HTWOW.
You are a bird.
Thank you. God bless you, Florian. Rest in peace.
Our lives would be completely different without you.
That's right. Until we meet at the discotheque in the sky. This has been HTWOW.
It's so
Check it.
boom, boom, check. Boom, boom, check.